break, I will always come back and jump on to do what I can. So it looks like the Tchouameni and Valverde saga looks like it's going to take another twist and out of Real Madrid's hands. Now look, this could escalate. I don't know how far this will escalate, but look, it looks like UEFA are gonna get involved and look at the incidents between Valverde and Tchouameni. Now, what does this mean for a potential transfer target? Look, I think it's good news. I don't always like this sort of stuff, but we will go on to what Federico said last night as well. Look, this is a big problem, and the fact that they both are going to get charged, and I'll read what was said, and I'll read from what Federico said last night as well, because I think I missed this as well from last night. But look, breaking news is that UEFA are looking at this incident, so it looks like Real Madrid are taking. It seems to me, I think Real Madrid are looking to change their midfield, and I think it looks like they could be ready to cash in, as Scott says there, of Valverde. Now, Valverde's got a big, massive release clause. I think, Scott, I think you said it before, was about £1 billion. Tchouameni is on the table. I can now see one or two of these players go. Look, if you're one or two of these players now, so the breaking news is that, as well as last night, breaking news, and I will read this from Federico as well. So Federico says, breaking news, Madrid have announced that following events of this morning, that disciplinary proceedings are taking place between Valverde and Tchouameni. The club will announce the outcome in due course, and this is now transcended and gone one stage further, that UEFA are now starting to take a look at the incident, because, as I said to you yesterday, I know we mess around with stuff, but violence in football amongst players, I don't care what it is, I simply do not agree. Whatever it is, and look, I know people are human beings, but as soon as there is violence, and as soon as there is that's involved in any level of the sport, whether it's players, whether it's probably the worst stuff, or fan on players, players on fans, whatever happens there has to be disciplinary action. So Real Madrid last night took the stance, and I think the correct stance, to discipline these players. Now it looks like he's gone one step further, and UEFA are looking to do something about this as well. Look, the Spanish FA are going to do whatever Madrid say, but it looks like this could be taken out of their hands, and Valverde and Tchouameni could be charged. But it certainly means that, look, they are both looking to leave the club. So Scott says 1 billion, but this is going to, but Madrid will take 150 million. Now I'd argue, look, if and again, is this a summer where United should be able to capitalise on either one of these players? Look, Valverde, I think, is very, very expensive, but the fact that Real Madrid, I think, are prepared to let these pair get charged, are prepared to charge them, we will see what Madrid do, because as Federico broke last night, Real Madrid are charging these two players. They're going to discipline these two players, and depending on the outcome of that, UEFA could take it a step beyond that. So it depends. And look, we said this on this show. I don't believe for a second, because I think Valverde put out a statement that it was a training ground incident, and he fell over and hit his head. If it's gone to proven that one of them or both of them have thrown punches, and it has resulted in Valverde going to hospital in a wheelchair, then look, I'm not saying that it will escalate to this, but look, we are talking a crime here. So look, it could be Madrid, and Madrid are looking to get rid of one of these two. Is it good on price? I'm gonna argue here that if you go to Madrid now, so Tchouameni, I would say to you, has it damaged his price? Probably not. I think Tchouameni will be used as the scapegoat. I do. Look, we don't know. We will probably never know, but it seems that Valverde has come off the worst of this. He's ended up in a wheelchair being taken away, and Tchouameni is looking like he's going to be the fall guy for this. Scott says we should get him over Tchouameni any day, but if Madrid will want to keep one, it will be Valverde. I agree with you, Scott. I think Tchouameni is going to be used here as a scapegoat. That will be a jail or a heavy fine. I think it will be a heavy fine. So look, if you have just on like the breaking news, as well as the breaking news from last night that Fabrizio broke, that Real Madrid have disciplined these two players. They're going to look to take it as far as they possibly can. UEFA are now looking to step in because there is, as we've spoken about, and I'll continue to say this, violence in football belongs in no place. I think, as somebody correctly said on stream today, was if you was to do this in a workplace, you'd both be sacked. And in fact, if this happened in a workplace, the police would probably be called. So I know this seems to live under a different set of rules to everybody else, but at the same time, look, this could be criminal proceedings. Sully says, sounds like Valverde took it too far and got found out, says Sully. What about Rudiger, our old left back? Is there being too far and found out? I also, the Spanish police, yeah, well, look, the Spanish police, the Spanish FA are going to do whatever they're told to do. So, I think what we're looking at here, I think, look, hopefully this can be resolved in an amicable way. And if either player has been assaulted, because let's just say here that, and I am going to say this, and I need to say this and be very, very, very clear. If this is just an incident, and it's one of those things where, look, it happened, it was an accident, somebody was pushed, accidents happen. If it's transpired that Tchouameni or Valverde has assaulted the other one, I don't want Tchouameni at this club. Now, look, I am not a hypocrite. I oppose violence. I oppose violence in life. Boxing's different. That's a sport. But I oppose football. I cannot abide it. And if it's proven, and this is one thing here that people have not, I've really heard anybody speak about on this subject, is if it's just a falling out, it happens. If somebody's pushed someone else, it happens. If Tchouameni or Valverde, depending on who we get, if Tchouameni is charged with assault, I don't want him anywhere near this club. I don't care if he's cheap. I don't care if he will reduce down his wages. I do not want that at this club, and vice versa. If Valverde, if we were to go for him, and it's been found out that he assaulted the player, I don't want him anywhere near this club. So look, I think as much as I am optimistic in terms of I think what this could mean for a player, I will not excuse actions of players. I do, there are many players littered, across the years, and when you commit a crime, and I'm not saying a crime has been committed here, I'm just alleging, and I'm giving you a scenario that if United are now looking to pursue this deal, they have got to do their homework. They're going to have to make sure that there are no criminal proceedings going to be pushed against any of these players or Tchouameni. If we're going to sign this player, There can be no ambiguity. There can be no comeback on this. If it's proven that he hasn't assaulted a player, fine. But that is, in my view, one of the things that I don't think is being spoken about enough. We talk about this play. This incident has got an opportunity for us to potentially go and get one of the best players or one of the best defensive players, but it cannot be at the expense of, if we find out that he has assaulted a player, we have to walk away. So look, I think it's interesting news. I think it is important news because look, we are looking at pursuing this player. A lot of us like this player. I like this player as well, but morally, I will not go against principles just because I like a player. So if it's found out and if he gets charged by UEFA, if he gets charged by Madrid for assault or gets charged anyway like that, Tchouameni is done for me. I cannot endorse it and I cannot back that player. Stockport says, congratulations to Arsenal on making a Champions League final. Tonight over Tchouameni every day of the week. The same thing could happen at United with Tchouameni and John O'Connell. Look, I think now, until we find out the truth about the incident, I think we have to put a question mark over it. I think we have to put a question mark over it as well. Depending on what happened, these things happen. Look, I don't mind a player who's willing to stand his ground. I like a player who is willing to stand up. Now, look, Valverde is look. I'm not blaming at present because we don't know the facts, and everybody is innocent until proven. But I don't mind fiery people. It could be just a case of it was a tackle. It could be a case of something happened. They sort of like had an argument. They pushed each other and somebody fell over. Right? It does happen. But obviously, if something else has happened within the meantime, then that needs to be reviewed. Henderson says it's finally great to be here. Great. So look, now that we've got that out of the way, if there's any criminal proceedings or anything like that, look, what we don't want to have is we don't want to have a Dabo and a Barton incident again. We don't want a Kieran Dyer and a Bowyer. We don't want that. We don't need these players. What's going on? I thought you were done for the day. Look, Henderson. Look, I've come back on again because some breaking news that UEFA are looking at the Tchouameni and the Valverde incident, because look, this could be pushed further. There could be more into this. Real Madrid have decided to look at the incident and decided to discipline the pair. So last night they were looked at. It's been handled in-house, but UEFA are now starting to look at the incident because it could be seen as more serious than what it seemed to originally be, which is good and bad. Which is good and bad. And I think one of the things that we've spoken about is this, that no one else at the moment, I don't think, has really spoken about this. If Tchouameni has assaulted Valverde, I don't want him at this club. If it transpires, and I'm not saying, I'm just talking about from our perspective because I want this player, but if this player, and it's proven he's gone and assaulted another player, his teammate, he can't come anywhere near this club. If they've both been charged and it's a little bit of like handbags at dawn, then fine. I get that. That does happen. If Tchouameni is a scapegoat, then but worst case scenario for me and Henderson, we said this as well, didn't we? This is what we said. he slipped. We never believed he slipped. Mila says, hi, hello. We never believed that he slipped. We said this on stream. He slipped. He never slipped. He never slipped. So we need to find out what's happened before we pursue this player. Because if this player has done, again, alleged, I'm not saying that he has, but if the worst case scenario happens, I don't want him at this club. I don't want him at this club. Grace says, Tchouameni is a criminal. Go and get a Goumet. I like a Goumet. I do. UEFA to make a shake hand lads rule. Can you imagine that? That'd be amazing. So Joey says, United will finish the season in a good place. Start next season in the same way. The last thing we need is loose cannons upsetting the dressing room. Exactly. Look, I don't mind a character. I don't mind people arguing, right? Elite mentality is if you're all in it together, you're all going to fall out. You may do the odd push, you may do the odd shove, but there's a line. If Valverde or Tchouameni has literally gone up and lamped the other one, punched them square in the face, I don't care. You can't have that. I deplore violence in football. It cannot happen. Boxing, UFC, that's a sport. But when you're talking about life, violence is deplorable, and I'm against it. And I'm against it in sport where it shouldn't be in the sport. So football violence shouldn't just be aimed at fan on fan, fan on players, players on fan. It should be the whole of the sport. So it absolutely cannot happen. Bringing the game into disrepute. Exactly. You said it. They slipped. Spotify, maybe I'm a terrible person, but I wouldn't mind both of them at United. Look, I'm not opposed to them both. So look, if you have just joined, the breaking news is Tchouameni and Valverde. Their incident as broke last night by Fabrizio. They've both been disciplined by Real Madrid. UEFA are now looking at this as an incident of concern. There have been reports submitted from Real, from people at Madrid. It could be players, nobody knows, but there have been reports submitted that this incident is a lot more serious than Madrid are trying to make out that it is. Madrid are having a bad season. Madrid are having a bad season. So it looks like Real Madrid are trying to lock this all down and keep it in-house, when actually behind the scenes, this could be a lot worse. But look, Spotify, I don't think you're a bad person at all, because you want the best players, right? I would take the one who is not violent. John says, but to put someone in a hospital, it must be bad, says John. And this is why UEFA are taking a look at it. There have been additional incident reports, because they are obliged by UEFA rules to submit reports. And it looks like during these reports that somebody has reported something which is making UEFA look at this a little bit more closely than Real would like. Boya and Dyer, exactly, we don't want that, says Henderson. I remember when Liverpool overhauled their midfield and nobody complained. They bought a Brighton player in, an Ajax player in, and a Leipzig player in. What I'm saying is we don't need big names, just hard workers. And Grace, I think you're right. I think you are absolutely right. Bro, did you see Waspan Borough? Yes. It was a head injury and they're taking it seriously. That's why they went to hospital. So look, let's put the conspiracy to the side for a second. Look, I think what is clear, I think what is going to happen here is that, and you can correct me here, I think that Tchouameni is going to be the one to get pushed out of the door. So look, let's just imagine a world where it was an incident. Look, these players are going to be charged. I think Tchouameni is now going to be pushed out of the door. So Rodri apparently is Real Madrid's their target. Tchouameni, I think for me that probably is him done there now. So I am thinking that Real Madrid are looking to move this player on. Now, look, let's just imagine in a world that now this can happen. I think that price of 80-ish is probably down to 70 million. I think you could probably bring that price down to 70 million, 75 million. I think Tchouameni is going to be on the move. Now, look, after hearing the incident, would you let that cloud the player? Now, let's just imagine it was an incident, it was an accident. I don't mind players having a bit of a set to. Is that somebody that you want around? Bring him to Chelsea. Take Enzo says Brink. Henderson says his fist was resting on the table as Valverde slipped, fell, and hit the table. Look, it happens, mate. It happens. It happens. You're just standing there with your arm out. Somebody sprints full force and they run it into your fist. I've walked into many a door. You walk into a door. Somebody tells you to put some ice on it. And you walk into a door. These things happen. So I think this is such a weird season. Madrid are in chaos. United are I never thought I'd say this, but we know what's going on behind the scenes with the debt. You've got Real Madrid look like they're literally about to implode. You've got Chelsea, who look like they're about to implode. United, by comparison, finishing third and looking relatively stable. I mean, it is crazy. Keane would be effed in this new era of football. Says Scott Keane, Roy Keane would be crazy. So Grace says it was like when Doku ran into Dallo in the United derby. Exactly. Guys, don't forget to give the video a like as well. Give us a like. Get those likes up. It really does help the algorithm out. Really does push. Look, I'm not even going to ask you to subscribe. I'd love you to sub. It'd be amazing. All I'm asking you to do is give us a like. Give us a little watch. Fantastic. We don't want to sign Barton type guy. You can have the ability in the world, but if you're basically a wild animal, you're more trouble than you're worth. And I think you're right, Henderson. Look, this is not a witch hunt at all. I like Tchouameni. I like him, but maybe is this a blessing? If this is the type of personality, and don't forget, we've got to get the personality. And as Grace says there, she said up there that we need workers. We need the right mentality. Now, will now, I should imagine 80% of people, 90% of different fans and their community are going to be celebrating this. They're going to be saying, "Oh, fantastic!" But do you want a Tchouameni now? Do you want him now? Does it pose a problem? For me, it probably makes me think twice about this deal now. I know he's a good player, but this incident for me leaves a sour taste. I think United will see it as an opportunity to get a player cheap. I see it now as a risk, and I think I'd probably move away from that risk. If everything is fine, but for me it still leaves a red flag out there for me now. So I think I would seriously think twice about this player. I like Tchouameni, but I think I'd think twice. As Dino says, if Madrid are wanting rid of them, must be a reason. Exactly. I'd rather sign 3 Le Mans type of signings that won't turn out to be UFC fighters. And Grace again. Grace is always the voice of reason. Lamans, we need a mixture of Lamans. We need a mixture of Bruno Fernandes type of players. And when I say that, you know what I mean, that elite sort of player. But but we also need, for every Bruno Fernandes, we need a Larmins. But Larmins is going to be a world-class player. So look, I think this is a fascinating story. I'm not sure how I feel about the player now. So Temishkin says, I want Tonali, Éderson, Matthias Fernandes, Tchouameni, Marcos Senesi, Jan Paul, Vaneka, Mbappe to United. Maybe he's the type of player we need to take. No shit for the team. Is Bruno elite? Look, Grace, I've got no problem in saying that Bruno Fernandes does some elite things. Look, Bruno Fernandes is a fantastic player. I'm not getting dragged into the whole debate, but look, there's no argument for me that Bruno Fernandes is an elite forward, assisting, attacking player. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But look, if you have joined the breaking news, in additional to the breaking news from last night, is UEFA are now looking at the incident between Tchouameni and Valverde. Ridiculous. Pseudo, that is hilarious. It is true. It is true. I think you're probably about a couple of thousand years too late. Yeah, there will be a watch along for the game. Let me see what time it is. What time is it? It is. What time is it? It is. Yeah. I'll watch it tomorrow. Yeah. All I'm going to say on the game tomorrow is obviously the game is embargoed tomorrow, but I'll do a watch along. Even though the game is embargoed, I'll do a. It's fine. It's all good via legal means, by the way. It's all completely legal. Just need a VPN connection, but it's all good. Valverde was acting like a baby, says Sally. But yes, I will be doing a watch along tomorrow as well for the match. So fingers crossed. Look, we can cement third tomorrow, so that will be great. But look, by going back to Scott's point, Scott's point said, do we need players like this? And I agree with Scott. Look, we need players with the fire. What we don't need is players who are gonna try to take someone's head off. Now, look, I'm not saying that that's what happened, and I'm not alleging that that's what's happened. We're just talking about the possibilities. We don't need players. Like, the game has moved on now. Like, back in the day, it would be a nothing incident, but as we fast forward, it just cannot happen nowadays. If United can convince Harry Kane to come to United, it would be perfect for us next year. Champions League, we need someone who can finish Bruno's chances. Look, I like Harry Kane for me. My feelings on Kane. I think he's fantastic. I'd bring him in tomorrow. I think he's worth every single penny. I would happily bring in Kane. I do think we need a midfield more, but I would sacrifice. If you were saying to me, if you could bring in Kane, what would you sacrifice instead? I would bring in an elite midfielder, and I'd probably sacrifice. I'd still bring in 3 midfielders, but I'd probably go somebody like Tonali, and then I'd bring in a Sano that we spoke about this morning, and a Gomez or a Fernandes, with the ability to bring in Harry Kane. I think if you brought in, instead of buying a left-sided winger, if you get Harry Kane, an elite midfielder, two decent midfielders, I think that puts you in really, really good stead. But I think we still need a fullback as well. But I think I rate Harry Kane so highly that I would still get three midfielders, but I would take some of that money and put it on Kane, because I just think Kane would be so important in more ways than anyone can think about. So look, Valverde to Tchouaméni, I think are going to I think they are going to be in the headlines. I'm going to try to move away from the story now as much as we possibly can. I don't want to regurgitate. Emilio says, this season Champions League winner PSG. I think so. If we get a good start to next season, I think we can win the league. Look, Scott has made a prediction. Scott has gone, look, I'm not here to tell Scott he's wrong. I think, Scott, I think we need to sign, if we sign 5 players, I think we've got a chance of being in and around it. And that's what Scott, that's why I said, mate, look, I'm not going to go against Scott. I hope, I don't know. You can only surmise. Look, I hope we learn the lessons of Spurs. I hope we learn the lessons of Spurs. I hope we take this opportunity that we've been given, and we've earned as well, by the way. You know, look, I think we've been given an opportunity, because I think the league has been not poor this year, but I think the league has been very, very competitive. I think we've had 1 game a week. I think for what everyone's talking about Michael Carrick, remember, he has had 1 game a week. So I know people talk about ratios of wins. I think his wins, I think he's 72%. Alt 5 says, yo, I got a job. Well done. Congratulations. Can give Alt 5 a big thumbs up. That's fantastic. Kate Jones says, hi. Hello, Kate. So I think, you know, next season, you know, when we've got more than 1 game a week, we've got at least two, and then we've got a game hopefully every 3 or 4 days. I think that is when I think, Scott, I think we can hang in with the league until we've got to play more than 2 games a week. And then after that, I think we may suffer. But look, as long as we've got a good squad, Scott, anything's possible. Anything's possible. Alt 5 says Messi or Cristiano. Now, I'm going to be clear on this one, and I'm going to say this. Lionel Messi is a gift. He is a very, very hard worker, but he's a natural gifted player. Cristiano does have some gifts, but Cristiano's only got to the levels that he has through his sheer hard work. So they are both, in my view, I'm going to pick Cristiano every day of the week because I am. But Lionel Messi is an absolute gift, an absolute joy to watch. But I think you could pick either. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Cristiano, for me, I would pick the 2. Cristiano, by the way, I just need to say this. I said this as well. Thank you, my friend. Subscribe. Fantastic. Cristiano, Lionel Messi are not my goats because I'm from a different era to you guys, or a lot. But look, they are 2 of the best all-time players in the world. So I think for me, you can't go wrong. And I just feel very, 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 very fortunate to have watched them play. Will you do a Euros live conference league watch-alongs? I'll do the finals. I'll do the finals. I will do the finals. Alt 5, yeah, I'm Maradona era. Maradona, for me, if you're talking around that era, Maradona, for me, is my GOAT. Scott is right. I don't disagree that Cristiano, when he hits 1,000 goals, will probably be correctly the best player ever. That's a fact, or in people's eyes. In my eyes, my GOAT is Mark Hughes. I say this to people all of the time. Your personal GOAT player is personal to you. If I had to pick two, Maradona would be number two, and for me, Mark Hughes. And then after that, you've got Roy Keane, Giggsy, etc. But if you're talking the first of those, those superstar players that I basically saw and loved, Maradona was something else. A man out of time, just an absolute legend, off of his face most of the time, and we're still able to do that sort of stuff. Absolutely unreal. Scott says, my old school GOAT is Law, and my new age GOAT is CR7. I mean, George Best. I mean, if we're talking about GOATs, I mean, George Best, Charlton, you've got Law as well. Maradona for me, Charlton. I love a bit of Charlton. I love a bit of Best. My GOAT is the United Devil. What can I say? What can I say? This channel, this channel, is getting better and better and better because of you guys. Look, we are pushing 50,000. We are 48. That 48k subs is ridiculous. We are pushing for 50 subs. So I tell you something that I did. I run the channel through AI, right? And then I said to AI, like, what is your prediction for the channel growth? And they said, and this isn't me, this is AI. AI basically said that this channel, the way that it grows and the way that it has grown, the predicted growth of this channel within 3 years is 1 million subs. So I don't know how true that is, but look, this channel is getting bigger and better all of the time, and it's all thanks to you guys. So look, thank you. Paul Red said, are you British? I am British. Yes, I am British. I am indeed. Mohammed says 8 Ballon d'Ors means you're the best player 8 years of your career. JB, answer my question. We chill. Look, if you can win Ballon d'Ors coming out of your ears, right? I will never have an argument with anybody that says Cristiano Ronaldo is the GOAT. I've never had an argument with somebody that says that Messi is the best player, right? They're not my best players. I think there's a difference between what is established as fact. What is established as fact is Lionel Messi, Cristiano, Maradona, Pele are the best players. There are more than that, but Cristiano, Lionel Messi are the best players of all time. Factual. They're not my best players of all time, though. What's my favorite song? My favorite song is gotta be Wonderwall by Oasis. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. I mean, there are so many songs of all time. Bloody hell! I mean, where do you even begin? But if one song that always springs to mind is Oasis. It's Scott. Look, I still love my rock, a little bit of metal, but Oasis is just my guilty pleasure I can't help it. I can't help it. Sue me. Sue me. Scroll up. I asked you if you were okay. Right. Okay. Sorry. I will answer the questions. Let me go back up again and I'll answer your question. JB, if you were a player, could only pick one, either win 8 of the Ballon d'Ors or hit 1,000 goals, never done before, which one? Now, it's easy for me to answer the question, and I'll tell you why. I would want to score 1,000 goals. And the reason for that is because I am a team player and I was always a striker, right? There is nothing better in this world. And, you know, I never played at a level that was good. There's nothing better. I don't care if you're 2 years old, if you're 60 years old. There's nothing better than scoring a goal. I don't care. I think you're either got a striker's mentality or you've not. But there is nothing like scoring a goal. And I don't think you can win Ballon d'Ors until they're coming out of your butt. But there is nothing like scoring a goal. So for me, scoring 1,000 goals probably means A, that I'm quite good. And B, I've probably won some stuff anyways. But for me, if I was going to pick one, it would be 1,000 goals. But then again, I was a striker mentality. So I've done that. My favourite song is Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Yes. The Puppet Master. I love that as well. I listen to all sorts of stuff. Aiden or Lissandro for tomorrow. I would drop Maguire. I don't think it should be a question of Aiden or Lissandro. I think it should be a question of Maguire or Lissandro. I think Aiden Heaven retains his spot. Maguire will play tomorrow, and I think he's probably right because Sunderland are a physical team, and they do have to put crosses into the box. So I think Maguire tomorrow is probably the right choice. But for me, I think that's wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I don't think the question should be Lissandro or Aiden Heaven. I think it should be. I don't want to see Aiden Heaven drop. I don't want to see him drop. I don't think it's fair. I think he was asked to come in to do a job, and I think he's done a fantastic job. So why should he get dropped? So I think Maguire should be dropped. Well, in fact, no. I don't think he should be dropped either. I think Martinez now needs to play himself back into the game. So look, I know people may not agree with me, but we've got 3 games left. We've got 3rd place. So I think Aiden Heaven should keep his place. And I think we need to get competition now, start to get competition for places. Additionally, as well, I think apparently we're going to see the new United kit in the next couple of games. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be the game after. But apparently, we're going to be seeing the new United kit. Just some more spin for you. But apparently, that's what we're going to be seeing is the new United jersey. I don't know if it's the home and or away one. Very important game for Ahmad. I don't know what's wrong with Ahmad. I don't know. Look, Ahmad hasn't been good for the second half of the season. Whether Ahmad plays tomorrow, I think Ahmad should be given a chance. Look, I want to see tomorrow. I want to see the likes of Fletcher. I want to see this. What I want to see tomorrow is I want to see the shackles come off of this team. So dead or alive, who would you be and why? Who would I want to be? Who would I want to be? Well, obviously, so my correct answer is I would want to be me, and the reason why I'd want to be me is because number one, I get to do this. Well, that's not true, but number one is my kids, my wife, and I get to do this as well. So look, if I was going to pick like who I'd be, I'm going to pick me because I'm very, very lucky. Like I am very, very lucky. I'm very, very fortunate. Now I'm lucky to have my wife. I'm lucky to have my kids, and I'm very, very lucky. So look, I would pick me. But if you're asking me who I would pick as a celebrity type of player, then or a celebrity type or player, then that's a different story. If I could be anybody else in a fictional sense, I would probably be, I know, easy. I'd be George Best. Easy peasy. I would be Bestie. Going out there during the 50s, the 60s, living his best life, playing for this club, talent out of his ears. I know he was a very, very troubled man, but I mean, look, absolute ridiculous bloke. Just an absolute gift. But yeah. Shesko injured, so in Boomer up front and Ahmad right wing. Look, let's see. David is in the house, absolute legend. So look, let's see. I mean, I would have done a match review tonight, but I'm going out tonight. I'm not going to do one now. But all I'm going to say on tomorrow's match, really, before I go is, look, the pressure's off. The pressure's off. I want to see these players play. I want to see pretty much Scott. Yeah. I want to see the shackles off. I want to see Michael Carrick let these players go and play. I want to see Shea Lacey as well. I want to see Shea Lacey. I want to see the Fletchers. I just want to see something different. Like, what have you got to lose? If Michael Carrick is going to, I get it, right? If you're going to be professional and you want to get this job, I get that. But I don't want to see this whole I'm going to play for a job. I want to see JBN Ratcliffe live. At the end of the day, Champers, and at the end of the day, John, we're going on the piss together tonight. I'm going out with Sir Jim tonight. I am. Where we're gonna go. We're gonna go and we're gonna go on the P together, or we're gonna be drinking champagne together, or we're gonna become best mates. Go and I'll rejoin later. I want to see JB fight Goldbridge. Look, the only way that happens is if we both agree to it and it's done for some sort of money. I will happily do a charity event with Goldbridge for lots of money to raise money for charity. I would happily do that. I am not bothered. I would happily. There's something that, look, Goldbridge is never going to do it. It's not something that he would he would do anyway. When it gets Ugarte jersey, Jesus Christ, do you think we'd ever win against Sunderland? I think we win. I think the bet should be, I think if whoever wins has to wear an Arsenal jersey. Jim Ratcliffe said Amarin is here to stay and got sacked like 15 to 30 days later. Exactly. So look, I am hoping. I think what we will see is, I think we will see United tomorrow. To be fair, it's happening with Delict. I don't know. There are rumours circulating with him, by the way, that it's personal. There's personal stuff, but again, I don't want to elaborate too much on that. It's a back injury, but we'll see. Loser has to put a Liverpool top on for the whole season, says Scott. Well, make it happen then. Make it happen. I will happily. I'll happily. Do that sort of thing. And whoever gets beat then has to live. Oh, Jesus Christ. So Delict, more back pain than JB. Well, yeah, exactly. But look, guys, on that note, I am going to go. Look, feel free, go and invade Mark's stream, set it up, go and tell him there's a charity event. You've got to do it. And the winner makes the other one wear a Liverpool shirt. Do you feel that we're in the Champions League next season? Yes. We look, whether we're in it, as in we're going to be competitive, I don't know. We are in it. We are in it. So we've qualified for the Champions League, which is fantastic. But whether or not whether or not we can compete, that's a different story. So look, we've got to be keeping an eye. So look, Tchouameni is going to be the story going to come out tonight again. So UEFA are looking at it. So, you know, they might be charged. So there might be more things to come. So I think put a pin in the Tchouameni stuff, because look, it could be a case where we may not sign him because it's not the right thing to do. But who knows? Who knows? So look, guys, I am going to go. Look, just it was going to be a very, very quick stream, but we ended up being an hour. I don't care. And you guys, look, legends of this channel. Apologies, I won't be around tonight to do a show, but I will be back tomorrow. There will be a watch along tomorrow. I'm going to set it all up now, and there'll be a watch along for the game tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Obviously, it's embargoed. You can't watch it in the UK, but I will keep you updated of what's going on. So feel free to watch, and we can listen, watch the game together. It's all above board. So if anybody, you know, it is all above board. So look, guys, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It is Friday night. Go and enjoy it. You've earned it. It's been a hard week. Those of you who are working on the weekend, apologies. Those of you who are not, go and enjoy a Friday night. Go and have a glass of wine, beer, Coke, whatever you're doing. And just, yeah, be safe. And I will see you guys and girls tomorrow. So look, have a good rest of your day. And I'm JB. This is your United Devil channel. And I see you amazing people tomorrow. Take care.